Wake up. It's combine week. That's right. That's right. Measurables, 40 times, hand sizes, 10-yard splits, 20-yard splits. I interviewed him. I didn't think he was into it.
Cone drills. Don't forget your cone drills. Welcome to Wake Up. Damon and Larry, good to be with you. Thanks for stopping on by. Like and subscribe to both channels if you would, please. Like Larry said, we got Combine Week officially here. You know, you and I are going to get into strengths and weaknesses of this team that are built in, that they can work around. There's the things that they can control and the things that are uncontrollable, and we'll get into all that. But Larry, since you said combine right off the rip, let's just start right there. It's as good a place as any. Thursday through Sunday, we get the NFL Combine. On day one, defensive linemen and linebackers go. On day two, defensive backs and tight ends go. Day three, we get your quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. The most glamorous of the 3 days is when those skill positions go. And day four is for the beef. The offensive linemen will go on day four. GMs and head coaches, of course, will be talking on Thursday and Friday over the first 2 days. We know that Kyle Shanahan is not scheduled to make an appearance again this year. It's going to be John Lynch there, obviously. More than 300 dudes are going to be working out. And Larry, let me just ask you, I don't mean to get too personal. How's your hand size doing this morning?
My hand size is actually large to quite large.
Doing okay? Doing good?
I used to be able to palm a basketball completely. I'm not Graham Ike of Gonzaga, who I think has maybe the biggest hands I've seen in college basketball this year. 11-inch mitts, and he just controls the basketball. But yes, hand size, interviews, 40 times. You know, it's you sit there and say, what's the value of the combine? The value of the combine is really threefold. It's the medical, which is the most important part, right? We did our digging, our doctors did our prodding, and we realized you don't have any ACLs. You know, it's like, it happens. Believe it or not, it happened to Garrison Hurst, who didn't realize that as a youngster he had torn his ACL. And he went to the combine, and they're like, oh, yeah, your ACL is not attached.
You don't have one of those.
You don't have an ACL. Needless to say, it didn't affect his career. He went out and had a very, very good NFL career. So there's the medical. That's the most important part. Hey, we realized he has one lung. Hey, we realized this guy's blind. Hey, we realized this guy, can't, he's got some kind of medical condition. He's got something really, really, it's bone on bone in the knee, even though he hasn't missed any time. His knee looks like a disaster.
Right. They look for asthma. They look for everything. I mean, it is the ultimate head-to-toe checkup that you'll ever get in your life.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting the full once-over. Okay. So that's number one, and that's the most important thing. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is you get a chance to interview these guys. Every team will interview like 30 different guys. And every team's got a different approach. Some teams throw your worst moment in your face to see how you'll react. Some teams mix it up, and they torture some guys and with tough questions, and other guys they really love, and they're just getting to know you. And so it's just, it's not necessarily even, but there's that face-to-face encounter, which is always, come on, that's always important.
Right.
And
some teams go about making it a very like, hey, back and forth, let's get to know each other. Some teams really set up like an adversarial circumstances. What was it? Rick Spielman of the Miami Dolphins was asking players if their mother was a hooker or something like that. Like, it was really weird. Some personal questions we started asking a few years ago.
Yeah, let's not confuse our Spielmans. There was the guy Spielman who played in the NFL. I think that's the guy you're talking about.
There's Chris Spielman.
Chris Spielman played in the NFL. Rick Spielman. You're right. Actually, you got
brother.
Right. Is it his brother?
It was his brother. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So he asked Des Bryant if his mom was a prostitute.
Jeez.
And which is a rough question, but what if your mom's a prostitute? So it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to. Jeff Ireland of the Dolphins asked, some tough questions as well. And sometimes it's by design. But unfortunately, a lot of these things become public. And so teams have dialed that back, pretty much. I mean, like every team's got a different culture. I know when the Niners hired Chris Kasarik, the culture that he was from was make guys really uncomfortable and go at them. And I think the couple of those interviews, Niners were like, whoa, 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 that's not exactly how we do it here. But either way, so you get the medical, you get the interviews. And then what you have is you have the constant backdrop of everything, the measurables and the testing. So, it's like if you run a 40 and I run a 40, but you run it on a windy field in Indiana with the wind at your back and I run it in a dome, it's not the constant backdrop. If we both run in the dome, it's that constant backdrop.
Right.
Yeah, the surface could be fast, the surface could be slow, but it should be slow for everybody, and it should be
It's a historically fast carpet at the RCA Dome, by the way. They're happy to be doing this at Lucas now, where they say they get a more measurable carpet. The RCA Dome was very fast, Larry, just so you know.
Yeah. So, there are faster surfaces.
There are.
So
it's the truth. I'm not joking.
I mean, some have more give, sometimes have more bend to it. Sometimes they're cushy, they're softer and you land each step is a little longer. So it is a little different, but everybody's on a constant backdrop.
Yeah. And what I think is one of the most important things is, teams see how seriously these guys take the combine and how they approach it. Are you the type of guy who comes into the combine in shredded abs? Absolutely no joke. I have taken this as the most serious job interview of my lifetime. Or are you a bit casual? Did you approach the combine as I'm above this. I really don't need it. I'm not here to prove much else. I put it all on tape. So how the player prepares for the combine and preparing for the combine is an industry unto itself. And that is sort of giving like false positives on some guys. They're not this good of an athlete, but man, they really tuned up for this combine and they can go through these workouts in better fashion than they actually go through football games. So there is, there's an awful lot of masters being served here, from personal trainers to guys' work ethics to their own discipline. And teams are just measuring everything. How you cross the street on the way to the combine gets measured. Did you help that little old lady across the street? Did you get into a fight at a freaking Steak and Shake? This has happened. We've seen players screw up their NFL combines at restaurants in between workouts. So it's a very important week, and it's probably a little bit too overblown all at the same time.
Well, it is. I mean, the NFL's not a track meet. It's a football game. These aren't track stars. They're skilled at a game, and you could be the greatest athlete of all time and not be very skilled, or you could be kind of a diminished athlete, but you're really good at the game. But it does give you the full breakdown. I mean, it does give you like, hey, you know what? This guy didn't make very many plays at Michigan, but man, he is a futuristic athlete. And that's what the NFL is all about, right? The greatest athletes. And a lot of times that guy gets drafted way too high, and then he winds up busting. And then there's Brock Purdy, There's Brock Purdy, who wasn't that big and wasn't that fast and didn't throw that well and didn't move that great. And, it's like he was just, kind of average across the board. Brock Purdy has a 104.0 career passer rating. It's the best career passer rating in the history of the NFL. And yet he went last in the draft. So it just tells us that, and Joe Montana said it the other day in an interview, he's like, they don't know what they're looking for. They really don't. The teams don't know what they're looking for. They know what they want when they see it. Like if your guy, let's just take him, for example, Curtis Rourke, who has yet to play in the NFL. If Curtis Rourke, who didn't get drafted very high last year, if he goes this summer, plays in the preseason, and let's just say lights it up, really lights it up, maybe a couple 300-yard days and completes 68% of his passes and, digests the entire offense and goes smoothly through his progressions and looks really, really good. he will put him, despite where he was drafted, despite whatever they thought of him at Indiana. If he does it in the NFL preseason this summer, there'll probably be somebody who will lob a call at Lynch saying, hey, I know you guys probably have no interest in doing this, but what do you say you trade us Curtis Rourke? You know what I mean? So it does, like how you play. NFL teams know it when they see it, like this summer in uniform, and then they'll love, they love Tanner McKee now, and they love Mac Jones now, and they love guys who they didn't love before that they love now, but they don't realize they love them when they're in college, and they don't really believe in any of the things that they see in college with any real conviction. Otherwise, Brock Purdy wouldn't go with the last pick in the draft. So it's going to be interesting because it's a year where the Raiders are going to the combine going, is Fernando Mendoza all that? And then you've got every other team in the NFL going, God, I wish there was more than one Fernando Mendoza. Right. So, there's a lot of,
you're trying to talk yourself into, you're trying to talk yourself into and out of things all at the same time. One of the best sports documentaries I saw was it compared just the development and traits of Jerry Rice, Wayne Gretzky, and Pele. Like three guys who were arguably the greatest ever to do what they did in the sport that they did it in. Best football player ever, best hockey player ever, best soccer player ever. And one of the things that they all agreed on was the over-analysis of amateurs and how ridiculous it's all become. And the question was asked, are we measuring things because they're actually going to give us insight into the player's future, or are we just measuring shit because we have the ability to measure it? And I thought that was a really good question. And it is, I think, paralysis by overanalysis in many, many instances. But the combine in the NFL, it's the ultimate meat market. Over 300 guys, Larry, being invited to Indianapolis to work out. Texas A&M leading all schools, 13 guys in attendance, 2 players that have been linked to the Niners their first selection at 27, Casey Concepcion and Cassius Howell, both a couple Texas A&M guys, 2 names to keep an eye on. Ohio State, LSU sending 11, Alabama sending 12 dudes, Indiana sending 9 guys to the combine. I mean, you want to talk about a number I would have never expected to hear in my lifetime. Indiana sending 9 guys. Mendoza, I guess, is going to go shake hands. He's not going to be throwing. He'll do that at the IU Pro Day, and he probably shouldn't. He has already filled out the resume. Well, Mendoza's not going to throw. Well, he threw on Miami in the national championship game, so that's where he threw. He's not going to do it again. The only place for him to go is down. He can only play himself into the number 2 overall pick with the bad combine, so he's not going to do much. But it's always fascinating, man. I always like to have it on. I always like the coverage. You always, your eyes are always drawn to a player that you really didn't know an awful lot about as you just sit around and watch for an hour or two. So I enjoy it. I really do. It's a meat market. I don't claim to, have a definitive, oh, it's so valuable. I don't know what it is, but it's there. And I guess I like it. So here we go with the combine. Would you say Matt Mayoko has thrown a new name into the mix when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers in their first pick, Zion Young out of Missouri?
Right. Which, he's definitely on my list of guys that the Niners ought to look at really heavily. I'll share the screen. There's a video here that we won't get monetized on off of.
Are you sure about that? Because we usually get this wrong.
No, the way it works is if you have watermarks on the bottom with scores. If you have a scoreboard on the bottom, you can't use it. If you don't have a scoreboard,
is that the trick? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's no scoreboard here. So somehow this is usable. But this is Zion Young, and I'll just go here. He is circled. And he's a defensive end for Missouri. And he's 6'5", 260, and he's got great motor. He's got great length. He's got great toughness. He's got a couple of flags off the field. He got kicked out of a game for fighting in the pregame one time. He also had a DWI arrest. So he doesn't have a perfect track record, but you know what? He's a defensive
Don't like
end.
DWIs at all. I don't care about a pregame fight. I want players scrappy on game day.
Yeah, I mean, personally, as long as it's a one time thing. I mean, come on, we all make mistakes, and I'm not throwing a guy's career away because if he had one DWI. Now, if there's some kind of domestic violence or any kind of real deep seated criminal
Patterns.
behavior,
We're looking for patterns of bad
yeah,
behavior.
or just I'm looking for criminal behavior as opposed to just, hey, you know what? I was young and dumb and had a bad night. I mean, it's like I'm not excusing it, but you are evaluating 22, 23-year-old people. I made a lot of bad decisions in my life at 21, 22, 23, and it's like, you know what? These guys make bad decisions too. So that's just the way it goes, and that's just the way it is. But to me, you look at it, but you don't overreact to it. But yeah, the combine is interesting for a lot of different people. Everybody's got something different. Maybe you had an injury, you're trying to prove that you're over it. Maybe you got kicked off a team early in your career, and everybody wants to ask you about it. Maybe there's some aspect to they told you to go back into a game and you said no, and you got into an argument with the coach, and word got out about it. Now everybody wants to inquire about it. So whatever their red flags are, whatever, and there's sometimes they're not red flags, sometimes it's just basics, but um, it's a fact finding mission for sure. But yeah, it will be very interesting to see lots of things. I mean, to me, the quarterbacks are always the most interesting. This was supposed to be just an unbelievably stellar quarterback year, right? But then Dante Moore went back to Oregon, and Arch Manning decided to stay at Texas, and Lenora Sellers decided he would stay at South Carolina, and Sam Levitt moved on to LSU and transferred, and the portal's big now. And then a lot of the guys who were supposed to be great, Clemson's Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller from Penn State and Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, they all had really pretty bad senior years. So the whole elite quarterback class evaporated overnight.
Well, that too, and
it just fizzled.
If you're a day three pick, if you're a day three pick at a university that's got a serious NIL program, you'll make more money sticking around for one more year in college than you will throwing your hat in the ring going to the NFL. I mean, NIL has changed the way players and the pipeline to the league officially works. So,
and also it's like, get your money. I mean, it's like, hey, look, you want to do a couple things. It used to be, hey, develop your skills, get ready for the draft. Now it's like, hey, look, the NFL is a crapshoot, and you may make it, you may not. So if you're a quarterback, go exhaust your eligibility, play in 2 or 3 spots if you need to, collect your $10 million so that you can go into the NFL and just focus on the job because you already have the money that locks up your family and secures your future and all that stuff. You have that all taken care of. So in some ways, I think scouts like this because they're like, hey, look, there's always the question when he gets his hands on a few bucks, what's going to happen? And now that question's answered. He got his hands on a few bucks, and the guys that crash and burn are going to crash and burn while in college, and they're going to fizzle out right then and there. So, but anyway, this quarterback class is always interesting. And then this year you have Mendoza going 1, not working out. Ty Simpson probably going in the first round. We'll see what he does.
To reach. He's not a first-round talent. I don't think he is.
I think he's definitely going in the first round.
And he's going in the first round, but it's a reach.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Garrett, I mean, what he is that Ty Simpson is the 1-year starter. But so was Mac Jones. Mac Jones had 17 starts, but then it took Mac Jones 2 or 3 years to kind of figure it out. Well, we'll see where Ty Simpson does. Then there's Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck. They're considered possibly day 1 or day 2 quarterbacks. I kind of like that next group, which is Cole Payton from North Dakota State, who's a lefty, who's like 230 pounds. Really like him. Jalen Daniels, 6 feet, 220 from Kansas. Really like him. Gronowski from Iowa.
Yeah, you like Iowa guys this year, man. You're all in on Iowa.
I love this kid, Gronowski. It's like I know he had a bad year, and I don't like him as a starter. I like him as a backup, but I just see a lot of great traits. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was the MVP of the bowl game, MVP of the All-Star game, is 6'2", 235. He runs really well. He threw well at the Shrine game. He's got 10 1/4 inch hands. He's a mechanical engineering major, for crying out loud. He's very, very, very bright. Yeah, I mean, that to me, just on those traits alone, gamer, winner, competitor, big hands, very productive. I'll take my chance on him. And then Jacob Clark from Missouri State is another guy, as well as Haynes King. I kind of like those 5 guys more. Gronowski, Clark, Jalen Daniels, Cole Payton. These are the guys that I kind of like a little bit more than not. I mean, Mendoza's Mendoza, but as far as that next group, that includes, as you mentioned, Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, those guys that were all thought to be great. This is like, they're all going in the first round. None of them are going in the first round except for Mendoza and maybe Simpson. I don't know that any of them are going to be great, but I do kind of like that backup quarterback or the secondary, let's say, QB 5 through 10.
Well, it's an aisle that the 49ers won't even be shopping in. It's something that they don't need at all, which is a rare thing for a team that needs an awful lot. And we're going to get into the strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff in the Niners. Larry, did you get my text? Did you do your homework at all? Are we ready for this one?
I saw the text, but I decided not to do any homework and just to wing it and give you more of organic answers as opposed to trying to study it up.
I was hoping for some organic grocery shopping today. So good. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for really glossing over your unwillingness to prepare for today's show. It's a little combine red flag, but it's okay.
Yeah.
By the way, how about this, Larry? You guys should do wake up every morning. This is from Tony Meredith. A daily wake up. Well, it's a lot of wake up, man. But thank you very much. It's
we do wake up every morning. So it's not like we don't wake up the other mornings. We do wake up.
Look at it this way. It would take over the entire market. It would take over the entire market. I do believe that. I really do. Let me just
take a significant sponsor because we do other things and we make money other ways. But
speaking of significant sponsors, Larry, thank you to Ike's. It's a great week to try Ike's. Have one delivered to you. Check out Ike's Catering. Have it delivered to your office. Be a hero. Our friends at the Dubliner West Portal, speaking of sponsors, have agreed to re-up for another year. I'm so happy to have Dubliner West Portal standing behind the Plus, and we thank them. And Larry, I know that you're heading off to spring training at the end of this week and have just added a new sponsor to cover that. Tell us about the new restaurant you're doing business with.
Well, we usually don't like to tell anybody too much about our sponsors before the trip, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. We'll make an exception because you did ask. We are going to spring training.
This wasn't secret information. I'm sorry. Was this a text from Kevin or was this a tweet? I think I saw a tweet.
No. It was a Facebook post.
Okay.
But it's okay. It's okay. We always want to help our sponsors, and we'll definitely help our sponsors ahead of time. But yes, we are going to spring training for the Krug Show road trip to Scottsdale Thursday through Monday. So we'll be playing a lot of golf. We'll be going to a lot of Giants games. We'll be interviewing some Giants players. We'll be covering the combine from being out on the road. We'll be streaming from Arizona Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But we did need, because it is a kind of an expense to get out there. We did need some sponsors, and we have 2 locked up, and there might be a third on the way here. But the first, of course, is our good friends, Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. The great Anthony Catania said, "Hey, you're going on a road trip. We want to sponsor you. So thank you to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264, or you can follow him on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. So thanks to Anthony. And then we have a brand new sponsor just for the trip, and it's Alomar Marina, and it's a phenomenal restaurant. It's one of Sacramento's favorite riverfront dining spots. Very cool. Voted best lunch spot in Sacramento. Awesome. If you ever want to have either breakfast or lunch or a beer, sit on the water and actually float while you're eating, you're going to love this Alomar Marina. It's Sacramento sports fans, a game day destination, floating on the Sacramento River while you dine. It's really an awesome spot. Alomar Marina, the best kept secret up in Sacramento. Alomar Marina, it's fantastic. Great eats, great vibes, great games. Visit Sacramento's favorite, or voted Sacramento's favorite, I should say, 14 times in different categories. Check out their website, alomarmarina.net, alomarmarina.net. They're open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're closed on Monday and Tuesday. They're at 5999 Garden Highway. Try the shrimp tacos. Try the lobster roll. I had the beer, or the burger and a beer there. Voted the best specialty cocktails of any bar in Sacramento. So
there you
Alomar,
go.
Alomar Marina. It's a really cool spot if you want to dine on the Sacramento River, especially when the weather gets amazing. You can sit out there and float.
Who
It's
doesn't
the
want to dine on the Sacramento River?
Well, seriously, and you know what's actually kind of cool is that you've got like people jet skiing, and you can actually, if you have a boat that's on the river, you can drive right up to the restaurant, park your boat. They've got the dock slips right there. Park your boat, and then dine, and then go back to wherever you want to go. Oh,
all right. You went from
really cool
to talk about it to 15-minute ad read. So
well, I'm just telling you, the Alomar Marina, and thank you to Alomar Marina. We'll talk more about them. We'll talk more about Sharp Corners, and of course, off the rip here, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And, of course, we're also brought to you by our good friends at Sleeper. So thanks to all of our sponsors for sponsoring the Krug Show and the Plus. We couldn't do it without you. And we really appreciate every single one of you guys. And I got to be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time reaching out to sponsors. I just mentioned it once or twice. And people came to me and were like, hey, we'd love to sponsor. And
it's awesome.
It's really, really great. It's really cool. We love what we've established here. And we're committed to bringing you guys nothing but the best content all throughout the Niner off season, no days off, all the way through the combine, the draft, the mini camps, training camp. We will bring you all Niner content all the time.
Look, I'll just tell you, Larry, I think around, I'm always happy to be working with you throughout the entirety of the year. I think during the off season is when you're at your best around draft time. You really are this much of a draft mix. So it's well, you know what?
We'd like to invite you if you'd like to be a guest of ours. On Niners Nightly. Damon, we have yet to have you on Niners Nightly, but if you would like to be a guest, we would love to have you.
Is that official? Has this been signed off on from above? Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, I have not been told no.
Yeah, let's do it. When do you want to do something on KNBR together? I haven't been on KNBR since 2014, I think, maybe.
Maybe this week. I'll have to get final approval, but I'm sure
you better get that in writing.
I'm sure I'll be able to get final approval.
You better get that in writing, but I'd love to do it. And look at it this way. We would absolutely be a ratings smash. There's no doubt about that. Here's what I do know.
Yes.
It's a very interesting time of year. If you went to a consultant and said, hey, my business is X, and I'm bringing in PricewaterhouseCoopers, or I'm bringing in some big consulting agency to come and look at my business and tell me where I stand in the business world. One of the first things they would do would be a SWOT assessment. Do you know what that is, Larry?
No.
The SWOT, a SWOT consultant, and I even made a little banner. It's very easy. SWOT. We're talking about strengths, weaknesses, external opportunities, and threats. This is how any business gets evaluated. So I want to sort of apply this to the 49ers. Now, when it comes to external opportunities, I want you to think about that as free agency. I want you to think about that as the NFL draft. I want you to think about that as each player's own particular offseason workout program and how in great shape they plan on showing up to at training camp. These are the external opportunities to get better, and how each team goes about that is up to them. It's a very individual process. Threats, you basically look at all right, here's what the Rams are doing. Here's what the Seahawks are doing. Here's what the Cardinals are doing. Those are your most immediate threats. There's your in division. But then you've got every single moving part around the rest of the NFL. You're battling every single one of these teams trying to get to the top. They are all of your threats. So this now leaves us with strengths and weaknesses, things that the Niners have ingrained into them. They really can't these are the controllables. These are the things that they can improve, or if they ignore them, they don't improve in these areas. Strengths and weaknesses. So in the homework assignment that you did not do, I asked you to come up with 3 strengths and weaknesses that you think define the team and set up really who they are. So let me give you my first strength. Okay. The number one strength, I believe, of the San Francisco 49ers as they sit right now, and maybe this is some old school football thinking, but I've always said, and I think you have too, that nothing really happens unless you've got the right coach and quarterback. I really believe, maybe even some more than some 49er fans do, that the 49ers have an elite head coach and a quarterback who is perfect for this elite head coach to go out and win with. When you don't have those 2 positions in place, how good your offensive line or defensive line is, it will always matter, of course, but I think matters less. You've got to have the right guy. It is the most coached up sport we have in America. If you don't have a brilliant tactician running your operation, you're in an awful lot of trouble. You really are. The Dan Campbell put a chaw in and meathead your way through it. It's a hard thing to do. You really have to be tactical and precise and strategic. And I think Shanahan is all those things. And you need a guy to execute that vision. And of course, that's Brock Purdy. I think that the coach-quarterback combination that the 49ers are going to be bringing into next season is the strength that the entire team is built around going into next year. That is the one thing that they do got, for sure. Now we can talk weaknesses, or would you like to give me your first strength before I go on to
yeah, I mean, I could go with that too. I would go with the special teams. I mean, they've been really bad on special teams, and now they have a kicker they like, a long snapper they like, a punter they like, a return man they like. So yes, those guys are free agents. John Weeks is a free agent, Eddie Pinheiro, Thomas Morstead, Sky Moore, they're all free agents. But I do think that they spent a lot of time thinking about what they wanted from their special teams unit, spent a lot of time, going after Brant Boyer and giving him, the tools that he needs to succeed. And I think that's spot set. If they just re-sign, Boyer's coming back. He didn't go with Saleh to Tennessee. And if they, Eddie Pinheiro is obviously, going to sign. He's either going to be franchised or he'll sign. And then you've got Morstead, Weeks, Sky Moore, all very reasonably cost. I don't know about the linebacker Gifford. He's also a free agent. He also, he's an all-pro special teamer, though he was terrible from scrimmage. So I think special teams wise, on a team that, man, they were just a bad special teams unit for years. I think they were second overall in special teams DVOA or something like that. So I'll say special teams is if they can re-sign their guys, I don't think they have to spend a lot of time worrying about, do we have the right specialist?
I'll tell you this. I would not have listed that as a strength, but a year ago I would have absolutely listed it as a weakness. So they've improved.
Their second DVOA special team.
Yeah, they've improved upon it dramatically. They really have. And Brant Boyer deserves an awful lot of credit for doing that. So,
and there's not a lot of other choices here. I mean, that's a for sure one, because you were such a circus on special teams. Now you got a coordinator you really love, and he found pieces that work. So now it's just a matter of signing those guys up for another year, and I think that is the plan. We'll see if they can enact it.
To me, the second greatest strength that the 49ers have, again, a strength that they project to the entire league, is the league-wide respect that they really do have as a franchise. I mean, I know that you and I will rip them apart at times, and we see a lot of overzealous media members and people criticize things for the clicks that it gets. But the truth is, the 49ers have a weight to them and a real gravity to them. I mean, they're not one of those teams that are just like, instantly you can just write them off. They're just, we're not worried about them. They're like, there's a culture of winning that the 49ers have, deserved or not, but it really does define them as a franchise. And I think that that's what makes them appealing to players. The 49ers are a bigger deal than the Jacksonville Jaguars will ever be. And that would be true if the Jacksonville Jaguars were the defending Super Bowl champions. There's something that I think is just real important about that. And it attracts players to Kyle Shanahan. I think there is more positive feeling about him as a coach in league offices and in league hallways than there are, amongst 49ers fans at times. So I know it's easy to dump on, the coach who hasn't won the big one yet, but there is an amount of institutional league-wide respect this guy has that I think makes them incredibly attractive, even with a few of the demerits we're going to talk about when we get to the weaknesses here.
Aren't you doubling down, though, on your answer? Because you made Kyle your first answer. Now you're making Kyle your second answer?
Well, it's that coach. Well, but it's just the league-wide respect that the franchise really does have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with just Trent Williams. You still have the best blindside pass protector, going, and he's still doing his thing, and he's doing it at a really high level. So I'll say the second positive to me is just Trent Williams. I mean, you watch the Niners and the way they slide their protections towards McKivitz. If I had to, I might even grow it and just say offensive tackles. I know that would piss off a lot of people because there's a lot of people like, they need a tackle. But you know what? They like Austin Pleasance. They just re-signed him. They like Colton McKivitz, and they think that he's a near Pro Bowl player. And they've got the best left tackle of the generation. So, I would say often Trent Williams, if you want to get the short answer, if you wanted to grow it a little bit, you could say offensive tackle, even though the O-line needs help in the interior. I think the tackle spots are decent.
I want to go to weakness, because weakness is where, this is what the 49ers need to overcome. The number one weakness that this franchise has right now, and I think you're going to agree with this, Larry, is draft failure rate. Draft failure rate. It's the biggest reason why the 5 Lombardi trophies have yet to meet the 6th Lombardi trophy. This is a window where better drafting, a few more available decent players, is probably the difference between did you beat the Chiefs in that Super Bowl or not. So that to me is the biggest weakness, which I hate to say is John Lynch. John Lynch, a guy that we both really like, a guy that we both respect, I think is also the 49ers' biggest weakness right now, because it's his category that comes up the shortest in terms of did you get over the finish line. It's
only thing is, don't you find any of this at all kind of puzzling from the standpoint of, when people want to get mad at Shanahan, they're like, well, he makes every decision. But then when they don't want to get mad at Shanahan, they're like, well, get rid of Lynch. Well, what is it? Is it Shanahan has the final say and makes every decision, and he's not good at personnel? Or is it Lynch? It's I've seen this a bunch of times. People are like, well, Shanahan's the general manager anyway. And then they're like, who are the Niners going to hire to replace Lynch? It's like, what? I thought you just said that Shanahan's the general manager anyway, and he's the final say, and he's making all the money. So decide. It's like the anti-Niner crowd is like, Brock sucks. And then when Brock plays great, it's like Kyle sucks. It's like, well, then people then realize that Kyle's pretty damn good, and it's like, I don't know, one of them sucks.
I think Kyle, the coach, is outstanding. I think Kyle, the front office guy, final decision, big voice in the room, is Kyle Shanahan, the coach's worst enemy.
We don't even know. We don't know who's making these calls. So I'll just say they're not getting it done, and we'll just leave it at that. But I'll say the biggest weakness is wide receiver. I mean, this is a franchise that had Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens at the same time, and Randy Moss and Anquan Bolden, and they're absolutely horrible at wide receiver.
Their last great wide receiver?
Owens. Oh, well, Bolden, maybe.
Anquan Bolden.
He was old, though. He was older, but
Was
Yeah,
Crabtree ever great with the Niners? Not
no.
really. No. So yeah, it's been
held out,
forever.
foot problems. I mean, no, look at their receiving core now. I mean, it's just Jennings is a free agent, can't run, slow as hell. Good, tough as hell, but slow. Pearsall's glass, always hurt. Demarcus Robinson, hugely disappointing. Kendrick Bourne, old, slow. Jordan Watkins, young and fast, but doesn't play. Sky Moore's a return guy. He's a free agent. Trent Taylor's going to retire. Cowing's never been able to be healthy, and Brandon Ayuk's greatest move is that he can drive 120 miles an hour down Tasman. So, I mean, you got nothing. You got nothing at wide receiver. Nothing. I mean, nobody. I love Jordan Watkins' potential, and I know he can play, and they'll figure that out, I'm sure, in time. So you got one guy who's healthy, young, can run, and can play. And one guy, and he's totally unproven. I mean, they are a disaster at wide receiver.
Well, you can take that and stuff that into draft failure rate, if you don't mind me saying. It really is. The guys that they draft, and we hope Ricky Pearsall isn't among them, but they just do not pay off the way that they need to. And then there's my other thing. And this, to me, Larry, this is something I don't know how they overcome it. One of the biggest weaknesses of the 49ers, I think,
don't say
facilities and location. And this isn't just the electrical thing. That certainly is not helping.
19th take about how the team shouldn't have moved from Santa.
This is not even Levi's Stadium, but their actual facilities. There's something that is like really raw commando about them that's kind of cool. Like, hey man, great teams were built on these two fields without much more than this. But you go ahead, I'm going to take you to Indiana University one day, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck, that's what a football facility is supposed to look like. You go around the NFL, the 49ers basically have a shed that they got at Lowe's as their workout room. They do not have the futuristic, this thing looks like the Empire built it level of headquarters and facilities that I think players are really attracted to. This is what free agents choose. The other part of the location isn't necessarily the location of the substation, but is just in the location of the tax-heavy state of California. And every single player is going to get less for their buck the minute they buy a home, the minute they start buying property. I mean, it will never lose value because it's in the state of California. But if you wanted a ranch in Texas, Jeff Kent will be the first person to tell you that, you're all nuts here in the Bay Area. You really are. These are things that I think the team just has as a built-in weakness. That now, could they improve their facilities? Could they build the ultimate workout facility for the players? I guess they could. They'd have to squeeze it in there, probably tear down the entire DeBartolo headquarters and start over.
There's talk about doing exactly that. Kawakami just wrote a whole article about it last week, how he thinks that in a short amount of time they're going to build new facilities just to try to, for more space and more. I mean, all these things, get bigger, better,
the
more
New York
modernized.
Jets workout, the biggest slapdicks in football workout on an Imperial space cruiser compared to the puddle jumper that the 49ers have.
Yeah, these things, it's all, the Niners at one point. First of all, their weight room's brand new. Their building that they built used to be state of the art. Their stadium is one of the newer stadiums out there. So it's not like they have some limitations because of just space limitations and where they're at, cost limitations and that kind of thing. It's the same reason that you don't see the Jets and Giants, which is awesome facilities right there in Manhattan, because it's just, there's not a lot of room. But yeah, you're good. They definitely need to upgrade their facilities. It's hardly a disaster, but it's not necessarily cutting edge. It's the Cowboys have the Star, Ford Field. They have, it's an amazing facility, but They have nothing but room, nothing but space. They could have built that thing any size they wanted, any way they wanted, where that's not the situation here. So it's gonna, but I do think it's coming, and I do think a brand new facility is coming. I'll say their big weakness besides that. I mean, you're picking kind of cross the board things. I'm looking more micro. They their linebacking core is awful. I mean, they have Fred Warner, Winters falls off tackles. Gifford is a special teamer. Bethune is more of a backup. Martin couldn't stay healthy. Wallow, Robinson, Kendricks, those are just guys. I mean, they don't have some teams. I mean, the Eagles had Jihad Campbell on the bench, just sitting there waiting, ready. A first round draft choice who they weren't using, who they just were like, yeah, we got Jihad Campbell over here. Oh, yeah, he played the other day. He had 12 tackles. Well, the Niners don't have anything like that. The Niners were signing Garrett Wallow from Denver and, picking guys off the street and signing, Kazir White. And will he be active? Will he not? I mean, it's like they just have nothing. They're just absolute embarrassment at linebacker. So that's a major one. I mean, the wide receiver, they used to be the best. Now they're the worst. Linebacker, they used to be the best. Now they're the worst. I mean, those areas stand out more than any other areas. They don't need a wide receiver. They don't need a linebacker. They need multiples. So I would say those are the spots that they're really in a world of hurt.
Again, I went much. You're going micro. I was going macro, and I said, let's get a. This is what happens when you don't do your homework, Larry. But anyway, to me,
we don't want the same answers. I mean,
the other thing that is, you tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, but are you putting Jed York and the York ownership group into the category of strength or weakness?
I think multiple Super Bowls in the recent past. Only the really, really, crazy myopic grader would say that.
I don't think they're bad.
They're failing. They're not failing. They're one of the most successful franchises.
Yeah, I do though think they're spread too thin. Like I wish that they didn't have a soccer club. Leeds is an investment, I think, has allowed them to take their eye off the ball. And when we talked about the austerity of the last offseason and the money that they didn't spend on the Niners, did that have anything to do with the money that they were pouring into the soccer investment? I don't know. I don't know how the family moves its monies in and out of this silo that's designated to this grain feeds the 49ers. This grain feeds this Leeds soccer club. I don't think we'll ever get a real understanding of where the priorities are.
It's so over-discussed. It's so over-discussed. I mean, this is a franchise that during their heyday, the owners also own the Pittsburgh Penguins and Louisiana Downs. So it's like now we know of some other holding that the DeBartolo Corp has. And so every fucking moron and their brother throws this in their face all the time. Well, they're spending money on Leeds. Well, they were spending money on the Penguins. They were spending money on the Louisiana Downs. They're one of the biggest mall creators in America. While they were building the Niners, they were erecting, gigantic mall projects all throughout the country. I mean, those things don't happen without money and capital. So it's just this idea that you can't possibly have a they probably look at it as, in the negative view, it's like, oh, they've got multiple things that they can be spending their money on. That means it's not just one. Okay. So that's the negative, but the positive would be like, hey, there's multiple places they could draw revenue from and pay, this could give them an advantage, even though it's a cap sport. So I don't know. It's a convenient, easy, let's bang on the Yorks. But in reality, who's banging on Peter Guber for owning part of the Dodgers? Nobody. Who's banging on the Giants owners and that consortium as they sit there and they buy up land all along the San Francisco Eastern waterfront and develop it plot by plot by plot, and they will for the next 30 years. You could definitely say, well, what are the Giants doing? They're investing in the Mission Rock project.
We have said that, though.
But it's stupid because every owner in sports, these are rich people. These are toys for rich people. what percentage of American sports franchise owners became rich solely on the backs of their investment in the franchise and don't have multi-purpose businesses, from trucking companies to whatever. So they're all spread out. It's like, you can argue this either way. You could argue that, hey, you've got more money that you can make because you've got all these other businesses, or you could be like, no, it's bad. You have all this money that you need to spend on all these other businesses. The reality is, if your businesses are successful, it's a positive. If your businesses are a gigantic cash failure, then it's a negative. So, and we don't really know about the level of their investment or growth or losses in the leads department. So it's just kind of an easy, kind of a crutch thing to be like, they're spending money over here. Well, they've always been spending money over there. It's just now it's a soccer team that you know about, and for whatever reason, people are fascinating on. All throughout the 80s, the night nobody ever wrote. Ira Miller, Glenn Dickey, Ray Ratto. They never, ever, ever wrote about the Niners aren't getting the money that they deserve because the Penguins just signed this guy or that guy. It's like, no.
Well, but that was such a infinitesimal amount of money to be thrown. Like the NHL is pocket change for the NFL.
But a racetrack is a racetrack, man. I mean, you're talking about, they own Louisiana Downs. It's one of the bigger racetracks in that region. All I'm just saying, it's like there is no such thing as, I didn't have anything, and then I bought the Marlins, and then I made all this money, and all my money goes into Marlins. No, the Cardinals owners have different, other properties. The Marlins owners, the Vikings owners, the Falcons owners. So I don't think it's a big deal. Well, now, if we see a dramatic, like negative cash flow situation, if there's things that we can point to, Damon, where it's like, dude, they used to be spending this and now they are not, and it's directly related to this investment, believe me, if there's a smoking gun, people will be all over it.
Right. And I think last year's offseason was a reset. And I'm not going to begrudge them their reset. That's how you get your financials back on track. You got to make a tough year. It was a shame that year came in what was supposed to be like in the window of, you're really trying to win it all right now. That's what made it a little frustrating and confusing. But since we're talking money, Larry,
yeah,
shifting gears to just like, hey, man, that guy's a bona fide starter. That guy's making $20 million now. That's just the way it is, man. I don't care if you're talking about a center. If that guy's a bona fide starter, is a Pro Bowl caliber, he's making about $20 million.
But it's all tied. But it's all, once again, I mean, I don't want to upset the point here, but it's all tied to a percentage of the basketball-related income, as they call it, BRI or whatever in the NBA, BPI, whatever they want to call it. It's all tied to your revenue base, so it's all relative.
Yeah.
Yes, you paid $2 million for an offensive tackle then, and you're paying $22 million, let's say, for an offensive tackle now. But your revenue then might have been $32 million, and your revenue now might be $332 million. So it's
the same percentage point.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be. It may be more, maybe less, but it's just. I guess my point is, we can't cherry pick one thing and be like, they're spending more today. Yeah, they're spending more, but they're not spending more blindly. They're spending more as it relates to the income.
So here you go. This is according to Spotrac. Juwan Jennings. We just talked about how, man, you got nothing at wide receiver around here. So how are you going to wave goodbye to the one guy who actually did give you a little something at wide receiver all year long? Juwan Jennings' projected market value, $22.6 million annually, which would rank him 18th among NFL wide receivers. The salary cap tracking site estimates that he could command a 3-year, $67.8 million contract on the open market for Juwan Jennings. And again, you read that, and it is sticker shock of the first degree.
Wide receivers. It's wide receiver market.
Yeah. Should it be? I mean,
it's a great question.
Bringing Juwan Jennings back for $22 million sounds nuts, but if you're telling me the league is saying this is not nuts, this is Honda Civic money, Okay, then I guess you got to keep your Honda Civic.
Well, the only thing about this is that the going rate for tight ends and wide receivers are quite different. So it's like it's different by position. Like I kind of I'm in that mode now where as much as I love wide receivers, and they mean a lot, there's no way I would pay a wide receiver a second contract if I could avoid it. There's no real reason to. It's like you got this influx of young receivers every year. There's more and more of them every year. And the cost of the franchise tag on the wide receiver is 28 mil. So unless you have a really special Jerry Rice kind of receiver, get down the road. Like, I mean, I would a lot of first contracts, but no second contracts. No second contracts for receivers. No, and the Niners have made that mistake already twice. They gave Debo a second contract. No mistake. Shouldn't have done it. They gave Ayuk a second contract. No mistake. Shouldn't have done it. Just here's the thing. It's not about Ayuk. It's not about Debo. It's about wide receivers. Don't do it. Don't give guys second contracts anymore unless you have Jamar Chase, unless you have Jerry Rice, unless you have the true difference-making receiver. And even then, it probably isn't smart business.
Would it be smart business for a much reduced price? It wouldn't be anywhere near around $22.6 million. But today, what is it? Coach Yak has Mike Evans and the Niners actually appearing in the same sentence. Now, look, I'll say this about Mike Evans. He is maybe the single greatest wide receiver who won't be in the greatest wide receiver conversation. He's awesome. He was awesome. He was as consistent a studly player as the NFL saw for years at the position. He really, really, truly is he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. But he's also just been so consistently now hurt. When he's out there, he's a threat. But can he get out there is the big question. At what price do you think that the 49ers would actually express some interest in former Tampa Bay, current Tampa Bay wide receiver Mike Evans? Jason Lockenforest says he is going to draw some interest for the 49ers. To me, again, theoretically, at the right price, okay, but getting older at that position just feels like the wrong direction. It's why you can't go back to Debo. I don't think you can go to Mike Evans.
Well, to me, it's not as simple as just, older receiver. No, it's about what are you contributing? What are you doing? I think Mike Evans at his age has maintained his speed and his value curve better than Debo. And it's not surprising because Debo runs through
end zone, red zone target. He's a huge body.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he runs. I mean, he ran in the 4.5s when he came out. I think he runs similar to that now. I don't think he's lost a lot, where Debo I think has lost a lot. So I think it's going to take like 2 years, $25 million, something like that, 13 a year, something like that, 26. I don't think it's going to. I think he's going to, that Spot Track says 13.3, or is it, I can't even see it. It might say 15.3. No, I think it's 13.3. So that's about right. I mean, I'd go 2 years, 25 million for him. I'd go 2 years, 26 million or something like that.
34 now though? Is he 33? I mean, he's
older. But here's the thing, Damon. I understand they need to get younger at receiver. But the problem is they also need to win right away. And the other problem is that the receiver position is one of the hardest positions to gauge. And so then now you're talking about it's a hard position to gauge and you need guys, but at the same time, young receivers, there's so much more complex. We've talked about this a lot, but there's so much more complexity to the NFL than there is to the college game that it's like it takes receivers time. It took Jerry time. It takes most receivers time. That's why that's why Carnell Tate is going to go so high, because people see how well they coached the receivers at Ohio State, and look at what Egbuka looked like coming into the league. Look what JSN looks like right now. Look what their receivers. Look how much. Look how polished Chris Olave was.
Well,
And
and
is,
look,
and he was all pro
Jeremiah
this year.
Smith.
Jeremiah Smith
like,
2
when
years
he
from now.
decides to come out, he's maybe the number one pick in the draft.
Oh, he's awesome. He's an incredible player. But beyond like just any individual, they coach it well there. So like, I think Carnell Tate's going to go really high because I think he's probably one of the very few rookie receivers that's really ready to step in and contribute right away. Where everybody else, like I love this kid Ted Hurst, and I've been talking about from Georgia State, but he still is a 6'3" receiver from an FCS school, and it's going to take a year. And it's going to, I mean, I'm not saying that I love Ted Hurst and I draft him, but like I'm not expecting Ted Hurst to come in and just light the league ablaze. Rookie receivers rarely do, and FCS receivers really rarely do. So, you know, I I love the idea of getting younger across the board. I'm a big draft guy, as you know, and I would be interested in draft guys in this, draft receivers in this upcoming class for sure. But if you really are the Niners and you're thinking, man, we want to be good next year, we want to, we got Kittle and Trent and CMC and
Don't have
Tebow
Kittle. You do not have Kittle next
but
year.
you have Kittle coming back. I mean, Kittle says he's going to be ready for week 1. So
sure,
he's going to be ready at some point next year. My point is you have all these maybe borderline Hall of Fame players in their twilight. So you probably do want to get one receiver or one player that helps you win like right now. And then if you want to find a receiver or two in the draft, I think, you ought to do it. I kind of think the receiver thing is so barren. It's such a wasteland of nothingness that every avenue should be explored. Trades, you're interested in Brian Thomas, Jordan Addison? Damn right I am. Free agents, you interested in Mike Evans? Damn right I am. Draft, you interested in receiver this, receiver? Yes, damn right I am. By the way, rest in peace, Rondale Moore. He was another guy that I really, really liked and wanted the 49ers to go after. He unfortunately shot himself in his garage this weekend. Former Arizona Cardinal, former Viking, former Purdue Boilermaker.
Larry, and when he was at Purdue, he was electric. He was unbelievable. One of the greatest couple of seasons any Purdue Boilermaker ever gave that team. He was the one guy that this Indiana Hoosier actually liked and feared on that Purdue team. And look, man, there is, a former Steeler practice squad guy who went a little viral over the weekend, Braden Fajoko. And he took to social media to rip the NFL, just saying, the NFL cares an awful lot about a player's mental health when it comes to getting them on the field for Sunday. But after that, they don't do nearly enough. And I know that this is something that you and I have talked about, how the NFL has nothing to lose in the investment of player health and safety and mental health and physical health. And these guys need to be taken better care of than they are. And what a sad story about Rondale Moore. Again, this guy's from 25 years old, from New Albany, Indiana, went to Purdue, got a devastating knee injury a couple years ago, and has just been frustrating in his rehab and coming back, and he's not who he used to be. And, it's hard to feel like your career might be over, or you're maybe washed out at the age of 25. And if he suffered from CTE, I don't know about any of that, but just absolutely tragic. I've had, my life dotted with a friend's suicide. It is so painful when that happens. So, I guess the only advice Larry and I could give anyone is, take a minute to call a buddy, a pal, and tell them that you're there and you love them and you're ready to listen. And friendships are forever, man. So, God, it's just so
my best friend in high school jumped off a building when we were in college. And so I'm very intimately familiar with suicide. And all I would say is that it's really an opportunity for the rest of us to just, speak a little kinder, be a little kinder, be a little bit more sensitive. Don't incite people. Understand that there's a lot of people going through a lot of things. Try to be as sensitive as you can be when you're conversing, and try to use kind words and we're such a soundbite world, and everybody wants to get the last word. And you think you're nasty, well, I'm nastier, and you think you said something nasty to me, I'm gonna say something even really more hateful to you.
The harshest, most biting point is going to be the one that trends. So everyone's kind of come up with the sharpest, toothiest thing to possibly say at all times. And
we're no different, right? We're all part of it. We're all part of it. So it's just a reminder to all of us that you don't know what someone's going through, and you don't know, where they are in their life, as far as, these incredible decisions that people have to make. And all I would say, and I saw that, and I was just thinking to myself, what's the lesson, right? Because you don't want to be like, oh my God, this is terrible, there's nothing to be learned here. I'm always thinking, God, what's the lesson? What do we learn from this person's tragic departure from our world? And I just think more than anything, it's like, just, we just need to be kinder to one another. We need to be a little bit softer to one another. We need to be a little bit more conciliatory to one another. We need to try to understand that, having the one up comment on somebody is not that important. And we should be a little bit, little bit more sensitive to people's feelings, and a little bit more sensitive to how our words may impact another person. And I'm the Damon and I, we're the king of it, right? Where we do these shows, we're talking big, we're giving our opinions, we're spouting this or that, and sometimes I'm sure it comes across as insensitive or whatever. And so if that is indeed the case, I apologize, and we'll just all try to be better, because there are a lot of people that are hurting. Life's, great, but it's also a real challenge for a lot of people. And, the great things of life that make us all smile, there's the counter side, the things that people are going through that make them weep or sad or whatever. And it's just, anyway, that's all I would want to say, is just, we all need to just take an extra minute and just remember, it's just as easy to be nice to somebody as it is to be snarky or rude or mean to them. And we just need to just think about how what we're saying is being perceived by the people we're saying it to.
Well said. Well said, man. 49ers 2026 win total over under. Larry, have you seen it? If you haven't, don't look it up. Would you like to take a guess?
Oh, I know. I have seen it. It's 10.5, and I would go over.
Yep. So 2025 was 10.5. This year, 10.5. By the way, Seattle is at 10.5. And the Los Angeles Rams are at 10.5. So welcome to the Wild West. It is pretty thick and juicy. It truly is. The 49ers are just one of 7 teams with the same total as last season. Do you know who the biggest drop is, Larry? Went from 8.5 to now just 4.5.
Yeah.
Dropped 4 games.
Chiefs?
No, it's the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins.
Oh, because they're going through they're going to sell everybody off.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're going to trade Jalen Waddle. They're going to sell off all their good players, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah, if there's a Dolphin player that you're interested in, you better make a call.
Yeah. The second biggest drop is the Cardinals. Went from 8.5 last season to just 5 this year.
They have no quarterback.
They're
getting rid of Kyler, but they haven't decided who they want to. They decided to get rid of their quarterback before they had another quarterback, which means they're
going to need one of those.
They're going to need a quarterback. Yeah.
You're going to need a quarterback. It's deep insider stuff here. Gonna need a quarterback. Biggest gain, Jacksonville went from 7 to 9.5. So 2.5 over last year's projected win total.
That's a lot about Trevor, right? Trevor really had a great second half. People are looking at that second half and expecting him to build off that.
Larry, one of the biggest dudes I've seen that was like, holy shit. He walked past me at Media Row, and I had no idea. I knew Trevor Lawrence was big. I didn't realize he was that big. Holy shit, he is huge. Anyway, it's officially time to hop into some supers, Larry. What do we got?
We got a couple other things that we got to hit here real quick.
Oh, okay.
One, I don't know if you saw the
big shorthanded Warriors win. Oh,
No. Did you see Renardo Green's comments?
Renardo Green. No, I did not see his comments.
And I don't know if they're about what I said, but people are throwing it at me saying it's something I said. Let me see if I can find it here. Where the hell is it? I thought I retweeted it. Anyway, Renardo Green is basically just saying like, "Hey, I'm not, let me see, let me grab it. I think it's probably off Coach Yak's X account here. Basically, let me see, I'll grab it here.
Is he basically saying Larry should stop talking about me getting traded because I don't think I'm getting traded, and whoever his inside source says that I'm about to be traded is wrong? Is it something to that effect?
Well, no, it was no, he didn't say anything like that, but it was like along the lines of like people who are down on me, kind of a thing. Let me see, where the heck is it? That's how busy Coach Yak's X account is. Let me see if I'll get it here. Here, wait, I'll get it. I know it. I know where it is. Here it is. So Renardo Green, Renardo Green. Let's see, here it is. Raj was like, "Yeah, we'll talk about it on Tuesday." Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Okay, he said, and I'll share the screen so you can see it.
Hold on, we deserve this one. Jesus, old people trying to find stuff on social media is hilarious.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of screens going here. Here we go. And also, some of these guys bury it. Here it is. This is Renardo Green. Make them clowns eat every word they said. Anybody go against the brand, I'll never F with you 100.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
So I don't know. Somebody was like, "Hey," somebody was like, sent this to me and was like, "Krug, Dre Berry said, sounds like Renardo's been watching your content, Sports Larry K." And I responded, I said, "I just shared what I was told, and I'm not rooting for his departure. I like his game." So I don't know if it was about me. It was probably more about Baldy, because Baldy said last week, "Oh, I heard that, I think they need to move off of Renardo Green." There's a lot of people that have been speculating that Renardo is going to be traded. I'm not speculating. I just passed along what a Niner source who's in the know said to me at the end of the year, which was that Renardo and Ricky are likely to be traded in the offseason. That's what said.
There was a sideline moment at the end of the season, which obviously is not helping Renardo Green is safe here arguments, right? It really looked like Shanahan was barking after him on the sideline after he got pulled from a game. So,
but isn't that kind of just par for the course?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, if
I think Renardo Green is the victim of getting picked on because no one was messing with Diamador Lenore, so you're going to attack something. I just think that he got left defending the busy side of the field because Diamador Lenore pretty much shut down his side of the field. So I don't think he was bad. I just think he was picked on, and that could happen to a lot of guys. It's really hard to have two shut down corners.
I was told that his personality just doesn't fit, that he doesn't have a lot of friends on the team, that he's not really close with a lot of the dudes, and that he's kind of an island unto himself. I don't know any of these things. I don't know. I mean, I know he's quiet. I know he's serious, but who cares? I mean, you can be quiet, you can be serious. Heck, those can be good traits. But obviously there was some kind of a disconnect between Shanahan and Renardo at the end of the year. But there's also, Ricky and Renardo are in that category of they are Niner players that are on their rookie contracts. And guys on the rookie contracts typically, for the most part, don't get traded because they're relatively inexpensive. But if a team decides that you don't fit for one reason or another, or are not a good fit, I could see them swapping you. Like, give you an example. Green Bay really needs a corner, right? They have Devontae Wyatt, who's kind of the Renardo Green of defensive linemen, right? He's been another pretty high pick. late first round pick who's done all right, but not great. And from what I hear, they may trade Devontae Wyatt. Well, it doesn't take 2 and 2. It doesn't take a genius to sit there and go, hey, what about Renardo Green for Devontae Wyatt? They're looking for a corner. Renardo's a corner. Niners are looking for a pass rushing defensive lineman that can go with Collins and West, and Wyatt could be exactly that. So I think you may see that kind of a deal involving either Ricky or Renardo or both, where you trade your guy that's pretty good, but just needs a change of scenery, and they trade you their guy that's pretty good, but he just needs a change of scenery. And there's a bunch of guys like that.
He's obviously reacting to something that's in the wind. So
Yeah,
who knows what put it in the wind? Maybe he's got a little something internally from the organization that he's worried about. I don't know, but
worth
that should
noting.
inspire him to have a hell of an off-season workout program, right? That should inspire him to come in as nasty as humanly possible and ready to go. And if he remains a Niner, hopefully he'll be an improved 49er.
Yeah, no question about it. One other thing I wanted to mention, me, I go deep in the weeds on the draft. This all-star game this weekend that was played was the HBCU legacy game, which is the historically black colleges have an all-star game for just people who played at historical black colleges. And I watched it this weekend, and there's a guy named Mekhi Lovett who plays for Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida, who is a Miami kid who's like kind of a receiver, kind of a running back. He's more of a receiver. He's 6'1", 220 pounds, though, and is strong with ridiculously strong hands. Great contested catch guy. He made several contested catches. Mekhi Lovett. I now love it. Mekhi Lovett. There you go.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. That's a deep dive. That's deep. That's deep. Let's hit some supers, brother.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. We got this one from Spazzy Mac. Steve Young came into my work in Sunnyvale, so I got to meet him and take a pic, making him my first homer,
my first 49er in person.
I can't read this. Former Niner in person. He's awesome. There's no question. Steve Young is amazing.
Steve Young is phenomenal at making you feel comfortable. He knows that meeting him is a much bigger deal for you than it is him meeting you is for him. But he's the kind of guy that when he shakes your hand, he also puts his hand on your shoulder. Steve Young he's so reassuring and friendly and personable. He's just an A+ dude.
What I love about Steve Young is he maintains an enthusiasm and a positive feeling about the Niners while also stating the truth, which is that they need help and they need it in the draft, and he'll state it very plainly and succinctly and cleanly, and yet he's very, he's pro Niner, but he's also a very much a realist. I love that about him.
He's pro catchable footballs. Throw a catchable football. That's Steve. That's the drum beat that I learned, I think, from him more than anything else. Fuck your arm strength. Is the ball catchable?
Yeah. That's one of Brock Purdy's greatest traits. All right. Well, who's this one from?
This is from Jesse Thompson. Says, Krug, your scout online do a better job than the 49ers staff. They need you, Krug. You and Damon are a perfect combo. Love the show. Keep it up. Well, thank you,
brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. We enjoy doing it. That's why we're here. Who's this one from?
Are you reading? Do you need glasses, Larry?
No, you know what happens? I changed my contact lenses, and so I'm a little I'm better from far, but I'm not as good from close.
Okay.
It's going to take me a couple days to adjust, they told me.
This is from Maba Opekpekmo. That's quite a name. What are you thinking about Wetjen and Heidenreich?
Yeah, so Wetjen is a Iowa return guy, and I love him. And Heidenreich played at Navy, and he's kind of like a Christian McCaffrey, running back, wide receiver. I don't like him quite as much. Wetjen, I really like a lot as a day 3 return guy, slot guy. Now, Wetjen may be a lot like Julian Edelman. I mean, he is tough and fast and really fun to watch. Heidenreich is from Navy, and I'm interested to see what he runs, but I like them both. I mean, they're both kind of, that kind of specialty player, but I like the Iowa kid a little bit more.
When I was in Indiana, Tim Dwight came in with that Iowa Hawkeye team and scored 5 touchdowns in every way. He ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown, returned a kickoff and a punt return for a touchdown. How else did he score a touchdown?
Wasn't he involved in the Drew Brees trade? I think he was. I think he was in the Drew Brees trade. Fuji says, so Bears to Indiana, still a possibility? I heard a guy on national radio on Westwood One last night complaining about this. It's only 30 miles difference. Yes, it's bizarre because the state of Indiana would have more teams or the same number of teams as the state of New York, I guess, or would have the same number of teams in Indiana, New Jersey, or as New Jersey, I should say. Yeah. So it's a little weird, but it's also football stadiums, and who cares?
No,
I don't care.
And I'm going to tell you right now.
Care. Let me make the point. Baseball stadiums are downtown. They're supposed to be downtown. You're supposed to be able to walk to everything. Football stadiums, you're talking about going there once or twice a year, and even if you had season tickets, you're going there 10 times a year. And there are people that it's all about your commute. Like if you live in LA and you drive 75 miles to work, then it's no big deal to drive 35 miles to a stadium. It's only a big deal as if you drive 2 miles to work and now you're driving 100 miles or something like that.
I really believe that Indiana is just being used as a stalking horse to get the best deal in Illinois. But what I believe even more than that is Kevin Warren is a clown show of a team president who gets every single note that he puts out to the public wrong. The timing's wrong. The wording's wrong. It's all wrong. And it's time for the McCaskies to sell the goddamn team. Cheap screw ownership. If you can't afford to go to Arlington Park, which you've already invested a ton of money in, you can't get that deal done because you're looking for the state to subsidize it. You're too poor to be an NFL owner. Sell the team to a family that will keep it, if not in downtown Chicago, certainly in the state of Illinois. That is just, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. As somebody who grew up a Bears fan, is the only person on the show who grew up a Bears fan, I'm here to tell you that if the Bears move out of Chicago, they can go fuck themselves. I'll never root for them ever again. I hardly do now. It's disgusting.
But how come you're blaming? How come you're blaming the owners and not the state officials?
Because the state officials the state of Illinois shouldn't have to pay for the construction and then get none of the profit. I don't believe in subsidizing billionaires to help them build the stadiums that then they share zero profit from. No.
I mean, there's civic. These are civic, gems. I mean, these are civic franchises.
Well, that's the thing. To own a team is to be a steward of the team. You have to be more responsible.
Running out of space. I mean, you don't have endless space. This is going to come up many, many times in the next 50 to 100 years because people are running out. There's space limitations in downtowns across America, and stadiums that were built downtown eventually are going to be built out in the outskirts. I mean, it's just kind of logical more than anything. I don't know. I don't have a really problem with it for football because,
by the way, this is how the Kansas City Chiefs are now moving to Kansas.
Do you want that killer facility or do you want something local? Because
what I want is to get the killer facility. Go back to 1985, the only year that the Bears have ever mattered in my life. Go back to Old Soldier Field. They ruined that building. They ruined it when they put in their.
It was built in 1933 for the World's Fair. I mean, it's not. It was built a long time ago.
I don't care.
Renovated a bunch of times.
I just watched the closing ceremonies at a place that was opened in like 30 AD. So you can retrofit these things. You can make them work. By the way,
why don't they do that then? Why are they not retrofitting Soldier Field?
Because they already did, and they ruined it, and they turned it into the NFL's smallest stadium, which was absolutely ridiculous. It looks like a toilet bowl sitting in the colonnades.
It used to be.
Larry, the Atlanta Falcons are placing a franchise tag on Kyle Pitts for the 2026 season off the board.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
No.
This was going to happen. It's like, it's the reason that I didn't really do videos on Kyle Pitts to the Niners, because the franchise number for tight ends is $18 million or $14 million. So it's like, you're sitting there. It's like, well, hell no, I'm not going to let this guy walk away when we can franchise tag him for 14 mil. Now, if he was a receiver and he wanted to franchise tag him, that would cost you $28 million. And then it was like, so a lot of the receivers just get traded because people are like, I'm not franchise tagging him. He'll accept it. And then we'll paying him $30 million. So yeah, Kyle Pitts, and the interesting one will be Isaiah Likely. Does he get franchise tagged? But yeah, Kyle Pitts is a
Likely won't get franchise
star.
tagged. He's not that kind of a player. You're not about to give him 18 million a year or 17, 16 million.
The franchise tag for tight ends is 14 mil.
Well, I'm just reading this Kyle Pitts thing. The 1 year fully guaranteed tender is expected to be worth over 15 million, potentially around 16 million.
Yeah. So they gave him more than the franchise tag to try to make him happy. I mean, it was always going to be a pipe dream, the idea of trying to get him. Here we go. We got this one. Fuji says, are you two going to Mexico City for the Niner game?
Bad week for Mexico City's, travel advisory board. Obviously, there's some cartel explosions going on there now, and a lot of unrest.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is that it's February, and football season doesn't start till September. So hot spots will probably cool off by then. I don't think the NFL is thinking about rescheduling a game or anything like that right now.
I wouldn't mind going. I don't know if I will be going, but I wouldn't mind going. We have that was that one. We have this one from, who's that from again? I can't see that.
Eric Pierce 6888.
Okay, what's he saying here with what's that?
GK hurt.
George
GK
Kittle.
hurt, JJ gone. Will they trade RP? What can we not type names out? Okay. Brock needs chemistry with his wide receivers. Yeah, I don't think they're trading Ricky Pearsall. I don't think they can afford to walk away from a player that they liked enough to take in the first round.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about this anymore just because it seems like the more I talk about it, it's like, you're rooting for this. It's like, no, I just shared with you what somebody told me. And it's like all these people come through the woodwork. Dieter says that your source is bogus. It's like, what? I mean, he's wrong and you're wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter if he gets traded or not. I shared with you what I shared with you. I'm starting to wonder if maybe I just shouldn't have shared it, because then people are like, you're rooting for it. I'm like, no, I'm not rooting for it.
Larry, it's an overshare.
I'm telling you what somebody with the Niners shared with me, that he thought it was better than 50-50 that Ricky Pearsall and Renardo Green would get traded.
And I look at it this way.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm telling you
I think the person that shared that with you will be wrong about that.
Yeah, well, I don't. Fuji, with Mexico game, does that mean the 49ers have a late bye?
We don't know.
We don't know the Mexico. We don't know. They're probably going to play in Mexico City late in the year. But as far as the bye, as far as what the bye is going to be or how's it going to go,
no idea.
I would imagine the Mexico City game is going to be a home game, and that means that the Australia game is going to be a road game. Is that?
Yeah, no, yeah. You're on the road against the Rams in Australia, and Mexico City, you'll be the home team.
Gotcha. PWS, not NFL related, but thoughts on Sac State to the FBS. Well, go Hornets. I'm excited for them. I mean, yeah, they're going to the MAC, and I think it's a great thing for Sac State football. Now, the fact that they have to pony up enough money to make every team travel, they got to pay every team's travel expenses. I mean, think about that for a second. Every team's travel expenses, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. So obviously the benefit has to outweigh the cost. Otherwise, why would they do it? Right. So
that Sac State UMass homecoming game is going to be at least 38% capacity.
Well, you know what it really is that, the yesteryear of, hey, this is all about tradition and region and all that. That's all thrown out the door. It's now who wants to play for real? Who's got the money to sit at the big boy table? Sac State wants to play for real. They've made that perfectly clear. There's other teams that won't. I would say in the next 20 years, you're going to see the evolution of like a super conference where everybody in that conference is competing at the highest level. And then you'll see a lesser conference where people are, recruiting and competing at a lower level.
We're going to go back to Division I, Division III. We got away from Division I, Division III. We're going to go right back there theoretically.
It's going to be like there's going to be like a super competitive division.
It's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC, with the ACC and Big 12 having some teams knock on that door. But it's basically a four. It's, I know we call it Power 5. It's Power 4 right now.
Fuji in the house. Thanks for the show, you two. It helps distract from horrific news of the latest zoo. What is that?
200 latent cases of tuberculosis at Reardon. Yeah, we heard about that. That's right. We're right by the high school. They had like a huge tuberculosis outbreak at Reardon. So,
wow, don't they have a vaccine for that? Is there a TB vaccine?
You'd think, Larry.
We got this one from, what does it say?
Jacob Anthony, what would A-Chain go for that would be a great ad? I don't think the Dolphins in their fire sale are coming off of A-Chain.
They might. What would he go for? Probably a second-round pick, third-round pick, something like that. That'd be my guess. We have this one as well from Joseph. He said, my son wants to see the movie Goat.
All right, Larry, let me read these. My God, it's like remedial almost here. My son went to see the Goat movie this weekend with Steph Curry, and Curry made a surprise entrance and thanked everyone for coming. All I can tell you is that Jack and Ozzy's grandparents brought them to the Goat movie this weekend. Tom, my father-in-law, really liked the kids' movie. He thought it was good. They were not in the theater that Steph Curry actually walked into and said, thank you, everybody in Redwood City for coming out today. But they liked the movie. So we're giving it a Jack and Ozzy thumbs up.
Was there a joke about flatulence? It seems like it's common. We've got this one from Fuji. When are you going to Scottsdale? Thursday, Shohei Mania in Arizona. Thursday through Monday in Scottsdale for a little golf. All right.
Enjoy, man. Have a great time. Too much sauce. Should the NFL offer free for life mental health care coverage for all players that have suited up? Larry and I have talked about this. An emphatic yes. If you've played one down of professional football, you should have lifetime health care, mental health care. This is something that you'd think could all be underwritten by a corporate partner easily for the NFL, and the amount of good positive PR that it would get from it would certainly outweigh any cost. In the right, just world, that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, come on. What's a better argument? That football's safe or that football's inherently dangerous, but if you play in the NFL, you're covered? I mean, to me, that the latter argument is a far better argument to make. We have this one from Fuji McCaskey.
Yeah, the McCaskies have admitted they don't have liquidity. Yeah, sell the team. You're too poor to own an NFL team.
Well, it's no different than people that inherit a house in a nice neighborhood or something. It's like, yeah, they could not afford to buy the house that they are selling. You know what I mean? So it's just the way it is. We got this one. Go ahead.
Have y'all ever eaten both pig in a pickle and an Ike sandwich on the same day? I mean, if you're just calorie loading, that's the right thing. Normally, like a big sandwich like Ike's means you're not going to go get barbecue, or a big barbecue lunch doesn't mean we're going to Ike's now. I would suggest you break those up by 24 hours, but definitely do both. You'll be happy that you did. Your fat boy tendencies will be served.
Yeah, I saw Ike at Radio Row. We embraced. He's a good guy. We have this one. Who's this one from?
This is Peck Peck Mo again. Maba O Peck Peck Mo. Draft Nick Harbor next year.
Yeah, gigantic receiver, South Carolina. Doesn't have great hands though. And we have this one from Fuji.
Larry, we missed an Olympic super earlier in the chat. When you're a volume super chatter, one or two might go past us, Fuji, but thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.
Did we miss that? I don't remember missing that. Okay, we have that one. We have this one here. Fly. What does it say? Fly.
Reich, Trevor, freaking Kruger. F you, bro. Love you guys. Larry, we got to get you some glasses, dude.
No, my eyes will adjust. It just takes a day or two. We got this one.
Is Kyle a white collar guy or a blue collar guy from Too Much Sauce? How about this? I think he's a guy with two shirts. I think he can play both sides of that pretty well.
He's a white collar guy. He grew up rich. His dad was a multi-millionaire coach in the NFL, so he's a white collar guy for sure.
One more from Fuji to pair some Crusaders. Didn't get that TB vaccine. Yeah, that's the thing, folks. Vaccines kind of a group effort. You need to all do it together. We used to understand this. Now we don't.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's going to do it for us. Damon, what do you got cooking the rest of the day?
Larry, a real pleasure. How about this? Coming up, because it was such I loved the Winter Olympics. Coming up at 11 on the Plus, Brody Brazil is going to be joining me, and we're going to be talking about the Olympics, the hockey team, what just happened, the significance of it, the bounce that the entire sport of hockey is about to get, and we're going to talk about Macklin Celebrini officially just charging to the front of the line of Bay Area interesting. I don't know if there is any greater personal athlete stock to buy in the Bay Area than Macklin Celebrini. He is the greatest deal in all sports right now, and he is on a trajectory that suggests he's one of the greatest hockey players of all time. It's one thing to be the best San Jose Shark. It's another thing to be the trigger man for the entire Canadian Olympic team. He is special. So we're going to talk about that with Brody Brazil, get into a few other things, and we just pretty much dumped all of our 49er and football talk right here. So we're going to do some of the other stuff, talk a little Warriors. That's all coming up at 11 with Brody.
Thanks to Habits Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. If you need a good attorney, call Habits Law. 1-800-INJURED. They battle and beat insurance companies with regularity. So there's only one call to make. You get, if you want to win, call 1-800-INJURED.
By the way,
HabitsLaw.com on the web.
Here's the Olympic thing from Fuji. Will MLB okay players for the LA Olympics? I don't know.
No, I doubt that. It's going to be in the middle of the season. By the way, Sleeper, thanks to Sleeper. Quick shout out to our friends at Sleeper. Both of our channels are brought to you by Sleeper. You already know Sleeper for fantasy football and daily fantasy, but they've also rolled out something new called Team Picks. It's built right into the Sleeper app. It lets you make simple predictions on game outcomes. Instead of worrying about player stats, and setting lineups, you're just choosing which team you think is going to win. It's real basic. It's designed to be real basic. It's designed to be straightforward and easy to understand, especially if you love following games but don't want all that extra complexity. So if you're already on the Sleeper app for fantasy, it's right there waiting for you. And if you're not, Sleeper continues to be an all-in-one platform for following your teams and staying connected to the action. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, that's going to do it for us. Do we have one more super
That's
on the
it.
way out the door?
I think we've emptied the barrel. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe all the way around. Kruger and I will be back on Friday with another wake up. And again, we'll if you want to drop a massive sponsorship and have this go 5 days a week, we can talk about that with you too. Send us emails.
Yeah, Friday, our Friday show, I'll have to double check that, but I'll be in Arizona.
Scottsdale. We'll work around.
I'll be in Arizona, and I know I am planning on doing a bunch of stuff, but one of those days we're golfing, so I'm not sure what day we're golfing.
Let me know.
If we're golfing, we'll work around it, but if not, we'll come live to you from Scottsdale.
Bon voyage, buddy. Have a good one.
Thanks to Damon. Thanks to all of you. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.